At the top of the tower exists everything in this world. This is the story of Rachel, the girl who climbed the tower so she could see the stars, and Bam, the boy who needed nothing but her. Just the absolute savagery. Just Rachel at this point just stole Bam's life. Like, just came in as like, you thought Bam was the MC? Well, I am the MC. I am the MC of Tower of God. Bam is nothing. He's trash. He should be thrown into the darkness. This episode, I think, is going to come as a major shock to many watchers of Tower of God. It's quite the finale for the series, because this is technically the conclusion of the prologue of Tower of God, like part 1, before you actually get into the real story of what Tower of God has to offer. And so, obviously, by this time, we know that Bam is alive because of the events at the end of this episode, but it's clear that Bam technically is going to be taking a back seat, because Rachel is technically front and center, stole the spotlight from Bam, and is now being helped to climb the tower to the very top. And I think after this episode, many are going to actually really enjoy Rachel as a character. Maybe not as a person, but really enjoy her as a character, because I think out of all the characters we have gotten throughout Tower of God up to this point of the anime, Rachel is someone that is very realistic. She's someone that really does feel like a human being. She's hypocritical. She's someone that fights for her dream, willing to sacrifice it all. She's very shallow. She's someone that has all these qualities of what makes up certain human beings, and I think many will come to respect Rachel as a character for everything she stands for. She's literally meant to stand for a counter to Bam. Bam was someone that didn't need something. Rachel needed something. She's greedy. She wanted things. She lusted for power and influence, while Bam didn't really care for that. He was born special, and Rachel was not born special, and they're both the exact opposites. And that's kind of the whole point here, is that the people that were born with stuff sometimes don't care to be born with it. They're just happy to be alive. They're happy to be there, happy to have what they have. But then you have others that are very envious. They want more. They're greedy, and that's what Rachel is, what she wants. And I think people will really love her character. It'll make you respect her character more after everything that the series has kind of presented, because up to this very point, people have been saying that Bam is a very shallow character. Bam is someone that's very naive. He's someone that's too kind. He's someone that's a simp for Rachel. And when you just see, like, all this stuff unfold within this episode, you're like, holy crap, like, Rachel is kind of like really trying to say why she dislikes Bam, but at the same time, the reason why she dislikes him is because she's hypocritical and greedy. And I don't know, I just think that this is a fantastic episode. I will definitely admit that when it comes to the display of Rachel's character, I think this anime just surpassed how the webtoon did it. Like, when I read this in the webtoon, I remember just absolutely hating Rachel. Like, I was just so furious. I was so angry with her character. I mean, I went on a full-on rant. I did a video a while back, and I know many are wanting me to talk about that in my last week's episode review, but the point is a long time ago, I did upload a video of me just straight up ranting on Rachel, and, at the time, I didn't fully understand everything that was going on, because it was just a raw emotion at that time, and now having some time to really settle on it and think about everything, and then the way this episode presented as well, this is definitely the definitive version of Rachel's side of the story. I think that this is a perfect episode to really give a lot of insight to the emotion that Rachel has been carrying since the very beginning of the story. It's been very obvious, some of the emotions, like jealousy, she wants a little bit more, she's someone that wishes, she was Bam, like special, there's been things that's obviously been hinted at here and there throughout the journey. Honestly, when you look at Rachel, she is a perfect counter to Serena. If you remember a few episodes back, we had a character, Serena, that dropped out. She was very important. She was a minor character, but she was very important to show that just some people don't make it, and some people, even though they realize they don't have anything once they, fail the tower and have to leave, and they have to go back, they're kind of fine with it. They're happy with the memories and the things they gained while they were briefly within the tower, and Serena quietly left. she left the tower and she went back to where she first came from. And basically, when you look at Serena, she's very similar to how Rachel is. Rachel and her are pretty much identical. Maybe not backstory, but like when it comes to their overall emotions and kind of why they came to the tower, etc., you know, they're very similar. They both had nothing, they're both not special, and they both came to that conclusion. And Rachel's someone that wanted to get, you know, special. She wants to be special, so she's willing to do anything, even get rid of the one person in her life that really does care about her and views her like a star. She destroys that person just so she can be special. While Serena, she's willing to sit back and it's like, you know what? I'm happy with what I got so far. I'm willing to move on. And that's the point here, is that when you see Serena's story now, that's why she's so crucial. Even though she's so minor, she's crucial for this revelation with Rachel. Because Rachel is someone that took Serena's, like, ambition much further. And now, it goes much further than that as well. It's clear that Rachel isn't the only one that's been doing things behind the scenes. This episode clarifies there's been a plot since literally the first episode of Tower of God that there's been behind the scenes messing with. Like, there's been things that's been messing with the structure of these tests and what's been going on. Example, you know, Head On, how he pops up and, you know, Rachel is summoned to him. He's like, you were not the one that was called. And this kind of implies that Bam was actually the one being called by the tower. The door was opening up for him, but Rachel kind of stole that spot from Bam and entered the tower as an irregular, which in turn is what made Bam an irregular as well, because he forcefully had to open the door to follow Rachel. So when you really look at all of this, it's very clear that Rachel didn't just steal Bam's protagonist role at the end of this episode. She kind of stole his ticket into the tower literally at the beginning of the series, because that's what this episode implies. But it's more than that too. When you also look at what Head On was doing within this episode, he was pretty much trying to say to Rachel, like, look, you're very disgusting. You're a very vile person because you clearly want to, you know, be a star. You don't want to see the stars. No, you don't want that. That's just something you're trying to say to make yourself look nice. That's not the case. You want to be the brightest star in the sky. Basically, God. That's kind of what you could kind of assume that he's implying there, is that Rachel wants to be viewed as someone so special that she's literally God in everybody's eyes. But obviously, from everything that has been shown throughout the story, she is never going to achieve that, because she is no star. She is not special. She's not strong. She doesn't have a amazing, beautiful personality. She's very ugly, disgusting, and vile as a person. Her very core of a person is rotten, and because of that, she will never shine brightly. So she did it in the only way she can, in a twisted fashion, by removing a person that shines brighter than her and shining in his place. For instance, taking his place and being pushed up on a pedestal to reach the very top. That is a fascinating little detail to this episode. But when you really think about it though, Head On and what he was doing since the beginning, he kind of orchestrated all this. He kind of orchestrated the whole situation with Rachel and Bam. He kind of said, like, Rachel, I'll give you a special test, okay? You can take this special test and you have to get rid of Bam. You have to kill him. You got to get rid of him in the next floor. And when you really take a step back and think about it, was that test legit? Like, honestly, let's think about it. Was that test really a test that Head On gave her? Or did he just say that to kind of stir her up to where she would actually do those actions? Because let's really think about this, okay? From everything we know is that there is a different administrator on different floors. We have a test director as well, and we also have different tests that are given. Honestly, when you really think about everything that happened within this episode and what happened at the end of the last episode, did Rachel necessarily pass her special test? Because technically, she's supposed to kill Bam, but she didn't, technically. She didn't kill him. He's alive, and obviously the floor director knows about this because he sent the navigator to go meet Bam. So, because of that, Rachel technically didn't pass the special test that Head On gave her, but somehow she's still being able to move on up the floor. So what this kind of means is that that special test that was given to her was never relevant, or it was never something that was actually being held against her. So she decided to completely ignore that test, then she would have been completely fine. She would have been able to climb the tower with Bam and everything would have been a-okay. So this shows that there is more sinister things going on behind the scenes than meets the eye, just Rachel. There's other stuff. You have it to where the test director and then also the, first floor like administrator with Head-On, how they've orchestrated something to really set up Rachel to do the despicable thing she's done alongside of what just happened to Bam to set him up with whatever this navigator is about to do with him. So yeah, there is definitely things that are building up mystery, and it shows that Rachel isn't necessarily the one that's in control. She's the one that's kind of like a pawn. She's a puppet. She's been controlled since the very beginning just to be where she's at, and the test that she thought she was taking wasn't actually legitimate in the first place. She was always going to be able to move up the floor, but she didn't, and she was just allowed to move on up because, she needed to be there to do whatever needed to be done for Bam. So yeah, that's kind of cool to think about. So in the end, Bam and Rachel's entire fate is entwined, and Rachel kind of helped Bam on another path of his journey, and she doesn't even really realize this. She was being used the entire time. So, Rachel, she decided to actually continue to fake her injuries, but also decided to really take Bam's place. And she knew that all the individuals around Bam would feel very guilty, because they technically failed Bam. They were not there to protect Bam and Rachel, and because of that, the bull was able to slip through into the water and kill him, from what they know. So because of that, they feel very guilty. They feel like they owe Bam a debt of honor to be able to carry Rachel to the top, something that he was going to do, now they want to do for Bam, since he is technically deceased in their eyes. So Rachel has effectively stole Bam's entire friend group. She has stolen, Bam's ticket to going up the tower easier, and so Rachel is now surrounded by people that technically are actually Bam's friends and not her own friends. She did not work for what she has. She just stole it. She legitimately just stole everything from Bam. That's all she did. She didn't do anything else. She just stole it, didn't work for it. She just decided to push him and take an opportunity, and that's pretty much it. She got very lucky. And it kind of shows, though, the contrast here is that Rachel thinks that she isn't special or lucky, but in reality, she kind of is. Because, if it wasn't for her insane luck, she wouldn't be where she's at right now. Because she's lucky, she managed to steal Bam's group of friends like that. She was able to be manipulated by the special, test that was given to her. Because of all these things lining up, she has been incredibly lucky. A normal person like her would have never made it this far. That was the whole point of what Serena's character was about. So this shows that Rachel, there is luck within her. It's not just her being a normal average person, she's lucky. Which, by the way, speaking of luck too, you also got to see that Rachel was given a weapon or a bodyguard to help her climb the tower, which this explains why Ghost, that guy that was near Rock a few episodes back that disappeared, what happened to him. Apparently, he was some form of creature or whatever that was given to Rachel to be able to guard her while she climbed the tower to get rid of Bam. And when she took that fatal damage from Ho, he disappeared, because technically his life force sacrificed himself to protect Rachel for she didn't have a serious injury. So that is the reason why he disappeared, and why Rachel is completely okay. So for all we know, she might actually have been paralyzed if it wasn't for Ghost being there. We don't really know. That may never be known. But that's the point here, is that is why Rachel was a-okay and what actually happened to him. But how, once again, luck plays a factor. She was given things that was able to help her climb to get to the very point that she's at. But okay, so now here's the next question. What is the objective of Head-On and the test director? What are they really trying to do? What are they orchestrating with this navigator appearing to introduce herself to Bam? What is going on? Why has there been so much shady stuff going behind the scenes? Is it something to do with the princesses of Zahad? Because you see at that final section of the episode where it's stated that because of Bam's circumstances, all the princesses of Zahad thinks he's dead, which basically means that anyone that is politically affiliated with, Zahad will not know that Bam is still alive. And we gotta remember what Bam represents. He is an irregular. He is someone that brings change, chaos to the tower. He is someone that's like a vile creature. That's kind of what was stated a few episodes back. So when you really think about it, it's very likely that whatever's happening with Bam, he's being set up to be something that King Zahad will not like, because for the princesses not to know, that means that they might not be able to report to, their daddy dearest and all that. They might not be able to actually say anything. So because of that, Bam might be being set up for a counter to whatever's currently going on with the political system within the tower. But okay, so enough with that. Let's talk about the possibility of a season 2. So I think it's highly likely. I mean, when you see the conclusion of this episode, it's just straight up foreshadowing to events to come. I'm not going to dive too deep into it. All I will say, slight spoiler, not that big, but slight spoiler, the character you see at the end with the long hair is Bam with a time skip. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to go any further than that. But yes, has definitely been a time skip, and that final sequence is definitely set up for, a season 2. There's just no way we're not going to get a season 2. It's bound to happen. This series has definitely exploded in recent episodes. It's been very popular from what I can see. So I am definitely inclined to believe that there will be a season 2 eventually. Now, one last thing I do want to say before I wrap up this video. I want to talk about Khun's interaction with Rachel. Khun knows something's up. It's very clear by the way he talks to Rachel. He's like, I wish I would have been the first person to encounter Bam. The first friend he met, the first person he met, not you. It kind of implies that Khun is very suspicious of Rachel. And for good reason, honestly. Ever since the very beginning when Khun encountered Rachel, he's been very suspicious of her. He's known that there's definitely some rottenness to her personality. He just has never straight up said it because he doesn't want to hurt Bam, because Bam loves her so much, so he never really wanted to upset, like, his friend. So it's clear that he knows something happened. He knows that Rachel definitely did something. He can't prove it, which is why he's not acting upon it, which is why he's not saying anything too much. He knows that Rachel, there's something going on with her. He knows she's hiding stuff. He knows that her personality that she's currently displaying in front of everyone is kind of faked, and so he wants to kind of get to the bottom of it. So he is definitely not stupid by any means, which could lead into some form of rebellion against Rachel in the upcoming, episodes when season 2 is eventually released. But okay, that's about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And until next time, guys, for Tower of God Season 2, I'll be waiting. If there's any information, I'll make sure to update all of you guys. But for now, I guess we wait for God of High School. I'm excited for that. That's going to be airing in a few weeks. It's probably going to be very good. So I guess at least we have something else to look forward to from Webtoons. And I haven't really read far into, God of High School, so that's probably going to be very exciting. But okay, love you guys. Be safe. Stay healthy. Chibi out.